and welcome to Be Savvy and Create. My name's Tracy and today we're going to be looking at using the text tool and creating some different appearances with our text today. So I've just typed on here Be Savvy and Create. I've clicked on the arrow so that it's all selected and we're then going to go onto the layer over here. So we're going to right click on this layer and click on blending options. This brings up the layer style menu. And first, to have a little play around, we're going to click on Bevel and Emboss. We can see here that we're embossing the text here. You can change the depth to change the look. And you can have a play around with the size. Obviously, the smaller it is, the less actual impact it has. But if you go all the way over here, it kind of loses it again, so it's finding it in the middle to give it a nice look. Toggle's playing up now. There we go. And you can soften it, which I don't normally do because it kind of makes it look almost texified again. Doesn't give it the embossed look. Okay, so to be honest with you, I don't use Bevel and Emboss very often. You may do. You might be able to tell me a lot more about it. But I thought we'd have a little play while we've got it on. So now we're going to have a look at stroke. Stroke is the outline of our text. So when you tick, you also have to actually click on the word to bring up the menu. So the stroke here, the colour always seems to be on red. So you can go, and obviously as we talked about before, you can change the colour using the RGB or the hex number, or you can just change up here and click on a colour which comes up on your main board. So we'll go with a nice green colour. Click OK. As you can see, the green outline has gone round our text. You can change where the outline goes. You can have it inside, which is just on the inside of it. You can have it in the centre, or you can have it on the outside. So we'll stick with the outside at the moment, and we can change the size by moving this toggle here. So you can make it fill out or go all the way back. And then if we have a look at the different options, obviously the inside, it just basically changes the colour of the text for you. And the outside and the centre. And we can still see some of the dark through the centre. But as we pull it over, that will disappear. So let's go back to the outside and make it stand out a little bit more. There we go. There's different blend modes you can use. Dissolve, darken, not many of them are making much difference, but you can have a little play around there. And we'll have a look at the gradient here. You can click on here and there's all different sets of gradients that you can choose. Let's say we'll click on the rainbow and then click on here, and you can change the gradient using this. You see the red is going further up the text there, and we can bring it back the other way. We can change the colour. So say we want a yellow, there we are. So we can change the colour of them, and we can change how the colour gets mixed from one colour to another. Okay. Or we can have a look at pattern. Pattern, you have some patterns in here that you can use. I've downloaded a few off the internet. So if we click on the pattern, and it'll change the pattern of the stroke. Okay, so if we click off that and have a look at another one, we're going to look at the inner shadow now. The inner shadow, if we go for a light colour, before we have a look at the inner shadow, we are going to change the colour of our font to a lighter colour. There we go. And then we can see things working differently. Clicking back on blended options will bring you back to your menu. Inner shadow, we go for a dark colour. And we can see a slight shadow appearing. You can see it here where it's been shown. So if we make the distance bigger, there we go. And we can see it there coming up. Obviously you can play with different looks of how you want your text to look. But the idea is to just have a gentle shadow. And spreading it. And the size. Obviously if you go too large it takes over all of the colour of the text. So bring that down to quite small. And we'll have a look at the inner glow. I don't use this much. Bring it all the way up. You can see it's going around the edge of the text. I'll bring the spread out and the size, and we can see it there. Bring it back down so we can see what it's actually doing to our text. And the inner glow is giving it a very slight glow around the outside of our text. So if we come off this now, click OK, and if we change the colour of our background, we're going to go into here, paint bucket, and then we can see it standing out a lot more, the glow of the text. We go back on here onto blending options, click on the glow, we can have another little play around of it so we can see what's happening. You can see the glow of the text standing out a lot more on the black background. Right, let's change the background back to white. We'll click on the layer we want, and we click on this little arrow here, and that will swap the black to the white. Back on the paint on the paint bucket, and just click on the background. There we go. Back onto this layer where our text is, and again we're going to right click and click on the blending. Right, we come off this inner glow and we're going to have a look at Satin. If we go on a darker blue, we can see what's happening with the Satin. There we go. Okay. And again we can change the opacity of it. And the distance. We see the changes that are being made in the text over here, but if we look here we can also see the changes that are being made with us toggling the distance. And the size again. Obviously if we touch the size quite a bit, it is changing the text very quickly. The distance and the opacity down. There we go. Right, we come off that one, we look at a colour overlay, which is quite simple. It is used to change the colour of something. We can use these we can just basically click on any and it will change the colour of what we're doing. So if we click on green, and now we're going to pull the opacity down, so it should mix the two colours. There we go, look. If it's all the way down, it has our blue. All the way up, it goes to green. And in the middle, we have a mix of the two colours. Let's take this off. We're going to go on to gradient. Gradient. You can change the opacity again. You can click on here and choose your own gradient. Let's click on this one here. Okay, so pull the opacity up a little bit so we can have a look. And then we can move these toggles so we can make changes to how it blends. And we can change the colours. Red. There. And we can use the black markings to bring the red shorter, so we've only got a little bit of red. And we can click and add another colour. Oops, sorry, wrong one. So you need to double click with the left button to change the colour. Okay. And with each colour that you're on, you have two little black squares here. You can pull them in or move them out to make the amount of colour that you're using bigger or smaller on the scale here. And if you click underneath, you can create new boxes where you can double click and change the colour, so you can have a lot more colours to play with. And we could go on to black. So have a play around with the gradients. They are lots of fun. And we've chosen a lot of colours here that seem to all look the same. Let's have a look, see if we can pull some big colours out. Red. Okay, and let's have a look. I have a blue. It's colour pink. Okay. Should we go with orange? Let's have a look. Like a peachy colour. Bright pink. There we go. When you're happy with it and you've had your little play around, you can then just click OK and it'll save it in there. You can play around with the angle of it, so that changes how the gradient will work, which also changes how your rainbow text is going to work. You can have it in reverse order. So you can also change the scale of it like this. So you see it's still using all the same colours over here, but it's changing the scale so that we're having a large amount of yellow and a large amount of pink. Pull it back so it's all mixed up. There you go, and that's how you do the gradient. Again, there's all different blending modes. Dissolve usually leaves lots of little dots all over it, which is good for if you're creating glitter. And there's all different ones here that you can have a play with. All of them do different things. But for now, we're just going to keep it onto normal. And if we come off this one, we're going to click onto pattern. Again, it brings up another box here where you have all the patterns. You can download patterns off the internet you search for Photoshop patterns. They're probably the best ones to use. I don't think you'll find many if you're actually searching for Photopea. So you can have a click on your patterns, choosing whichever one you would like. Again, you can change the opacity of it, so the pattern will almost disappear to be very vivid. You can change the scale, so you can have very large diamonds like in this pattern here, or you can have them very, very small. Okay, and again there's all your different blend modes that you can have a play with. We'll keep it on normal for now. Okay, outer glow. Colour. Shall we go with white? Or very creamy white. Opacity we'll pull up and we can see it now come in. And we can have a play with the spread and the size. Oh, there we go. And it's naturally set to screen, but we can have a look at different ones, see if there's any difference in what we are looking at. Oh, the dissolve looks a bit like paint splatters. That's really nice look. But I say it's good fun going through it and having a look at different looks and different ways that you can set this out. I think I'm going to stick on dissolve for that one. I really like that. Okay, and we're going to have a look at the drop shadow. And this brings up the drop shadow. The colour of the shadow is naturally black, but you can change it if you like. Let's go for a dark blue or a dark red. And we can look at the opacity again. So that is very bright to almost disappearing, and it's gone. We'll look at the distance. That's how much it pulls the shadow away from your text. As you can see here, the bigger the distance, the further it's going away. And we'll bring it back the other way until it just looks like a basic outline. We'll pull it this way a little bit more. There we go. The spread, we see there. That's making it look more 3D when we pull the spread out all the way. We'll pull it back a little bit. And we can change the size. And we can have a look at the angle. And we're going to put that back to 30, what it was set on. And there you go. That's what all the different blending options do. And that's it. Next time that we're on the text tool, we're going to be looking at changing text into shapes so that we can have a play around with them that way. And we're also going to be learning how to type onto circles or squares or different paths to make different patterns with our text. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. Please make sure that you like the video and you subscribe to Be Savvy and Create. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!